Hey friends! Today I want to share 3 fun ways to include gift cards or cash in your handmade cards. These cards can carry not only kind words but sweet gifts too. Now to start, I'm creating some faux enamel letters. I've got 3 of each letter, 2 cut from white cardstock and 1 cut from teal. I'm going to use my favorite glue pen to adhere them together. Now I like using my glue pen for this because the bond isn't instant, so I have a little more wiggle room to line everything up perfectly. Once all the letters are adhered together, I'm just going to use a loop of low-tack tape to put them onto an acrylic block. Then I can add a nice coating of glossy accents and a little sprinkle of chunky iridescent glitter while the glossy accents is still wet. Then I can take that block and move it far away from me to ensure I won't accidentally put my finger or some other tool into them while they're drying. Now once my glossy and glittery letters are dry, I've done a light pencil line on my card front and loaded it all up in my MISTI. The enamel letters are just there for spacing, so I'm going to pull them out and stamp the little birthday at the end of the line. Then I can use liquid glue to adhere my faux enamel letters. I'm using liquid glue again so that I have that extra wiggle room of time, but I'm using something a little bit stronger than Zig glue. I also put an acrylic block on top to help the letters adhere and stay flat. Now it's time for the inside of the card. So I've cut a piece of glitter paper to be 4 1/4 and just a teeny bit shorter than 5 1/2 so that it will fit inside the card and still close nicely. And on that glitter paper, I'm going to use a gift card slat die. Now if you don't have a die like this, you could use your paper trimmer and just cut, not all the way to the edges, but the die makes it so much easier. Now once I've run it through my die cut machine, I've got that little pocket in the glitter paper that I can tuck money and gift cards to. And now I just need to adhere it inside my card. So I'm using strong double-sided tape just along the top and the bottom so the pocket isn't too tight. And when using the tape, I like to remove just part of the liner paper at first to give myself a chance to make everything straight before it gets stuck down. It's a card-saving tip I learned from the amazing Julie Ebersol. Now here you can see the finished card with the pencil line on the front erased and complete with that glittery pocket on the inside. Since glitter paper is kind of hard to write on, you could also include a little note in the pocket, or depending on your recipient, maybe some other fun flat treats like stickers. Okay, so for the next card, let's start with decorating the front again. I have an unscored card that I've put a little low-tack tape across the front to serve as a mask, and I'm going to use a rubber brayer and some dye ink pads to add color. So I like to pick up the ink on my rubber brayer and then kind of just like roll it onto my nonstick craft sheet to spread it out a little bit before rolling onto my cardstock. I love this technique because I think you really can't go wrong. It's such an easy way to create fun, colorful backgrounds, as long as you choose colors that won't mix and overlap and make mud. In between colors, you can just use a paper towel to clean off your brayer. If it's really inky, a wet wipe, or if you're moving from some colors, you don't even have to worry about cleaning, like light pink to dark pink. I don't even bother. Now, once all the colors have been applied, I just remove the tape and it's time to score the card. I'm going to add a little box on the inside of this card, so I don't want it to be completely flat. So instead of scoring at exactly 5 1/2, I'm going to score at 5 3/8 and 5 5/8, and that's going to give a little width to my fold. Now I'm going to burnish those lines with Teflon bone folder so they're nice and crisp, and then you can see I've got that little bit of width there. Now to create the box on the inside, I'm using the Essentials by Ellen parcel box die. This die has the option of removing that middle window, but I've actually left it intact because I love it so much. Once I've die cut the box from teal cardstock, I'm just going to use a bone folder to burnish all the edges, all the flaps. And then it comes with this little slot die. So I'm going to put that on the longer flaps and run it through my die cut machine. And then once I have the flaps that have the little slot cut, once those are cut, I'm going to adhere a piece of acetate in the window opening with some strong double-sided tape. And then I'm going to add a little more tape to the box tabs and fold the box together. Sorry, it's a little off camera there. You can see how the box will fold closed, and you might be wondering, what are those slots for? Especially because now I'm adding that same slot die to the back of my folded card. So once I've done that, I'm going to fill my little box with sequins and cash. And then those little slots are going to adhere, or not adhere, they're going to close everything up with ribbon. So I'm going to put the ribbon through the slots first on my little box. And then I'm going to put it through the same slots on the back of my card there. So you can see how that's going to fit in there. And then I can just tie the ribbon on the back of my card. Easy peasy. Now, thank goodness I threaded my ribbon through and tied it into a bow, because I actually am going to have to take this back off. Because I forgot to finish decorating the front of my card, and I want to do some stamping, and it's going to be super hard to do that with the box on the inside. So box comes off, thankfully, And then I'm just going to stamp and mix some die cut letters on the front. So it says for you. Now for the U, I am going to practice stamping. So I have a piece of acetate on top of my project in my MISTI, so I can double check spacing and make sure it's straight. And that way, if it was wrong, I would have a chance to correct before ruining my project. I learned that the hard way, which is why I share this tip all the time. And then when it's right, I can just pull that acetate out, clean it off for next time, ink up my stamp again, and stamp onto my project. Now to finish this, I'm going to add a little bit of floral stamping as well. And then I've got more faux enamel letters that are going to go above the U. So it says for you. So now you can see the completed card. When you open it, you've got that sweet little box on the inside. A gift card fits in there perfectly too. It ties on the back so you can take it off without destroying your card, and there you go. The last card I want to share with you is a piñata style card. So I'm starting with a 110-pound A2 panel, and I'm going to die cut a rectangle from the middle. Now a lot of different die shapes would work for the piñata opening. I just chose the rectangle because it would work for cash or a standard gift card. Now for the back, I have another 110-pound panel, and the two panels will go together to make a postcard style card. The only opening will be the piñata part. Now I'm going to stamp the sentiment up the side of the back panel, leaving myself room to add a message. And I also stamped a little teal confetti around the happy birthday. Then I can set my front and back panels aside and start working on my piñata fringe. Now I've got strips of tissue paper that I'm going to fold in half and cut with fringe scissors. Of course, plain old scissors would work perfectly too, but I really dig these fringe scissors, and I actually use them a lot. Then I've added some double-sided tape around the top and sides of my rectangle opening for the front panel with my camera off. Sorry about that, guys. And I'm just layering pieces of fringe in that opening, and the double-sided adhesive on the sides is holding them on there. Now once I filled the whole opening with fringe, I'm going to use foam tape to build a container around it. So I'm folding my foam tape over to make an easy double layer, and then trimming it into a narrow width with nonstick scissors. When the foam tape container is complete, I can fill it with sequins and a gift card. But something to note is that before adding that foam tape on there, I probably should have added a rectangle of tissue paper to cover that whole opening to make sure none of my sequins would fall out before the piñata was open. Oh well. Finally, I can just peel off the foam tape liner paper, adhere the two panels together, and I have my piñata card. So see, on the back I have space to write a message. On the front I added a little bow and a tag, and here's how you open it. You just pull up that tissue paper to reveal the little treats inside. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you were inspired to create some handmade cards that double as gifts as well. Feel free to leave me any questions or comments below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love if you did. Thanks again, and happy crafting.